this is Mrs. Robertson, and today we're going to go over our spiral review before we take our benchmark, quarter one benchmark test. And I am recording this from my first period class. Say hi, kids. Hi! Thank you. All right. Now let's focus and do these problems. In problem number 1, negative times negative is positive 36. Number 2, negative divided by positive is going to be negative 8. Now, I always suggest that you circle your answer, and when you circle it, you think, is my answer going to be positive or negative? So that way you don't forget to put your sign. And I need to circle this one because I already said it was positive. Now in number 3, 52 minus 4 is 48. And you end up with 48 over negative 6, but that's not the answer that you will be putting into Mastery Connect tomorrow. Again, positive divided by negative means my answer is going to be negative, and 48 divided by 6 is 8. Negative 8. In problem number 4, 5 to the second power is 25. Now you have 25 minus a negative 10. Thank you. You've got to do that. Add the opposite, and the answer, 35 positive. Circle your answer. Okay, number 5 has more than one operation, and kids will miss this one because they forget to do the multiplying first. When you are doing order of operations, which is whenever you do math problems, you always look for the order of operations. It's PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, and the last thing you do is go back and do add and subtract. Now, 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. So you have 75 minus a negative 21. What do you do, kids? And the answer is 96. Positive 96. Any questions on that? You got it. Okay. Now let's do the next column. Number 6, negative 16. Make sure you multiply them. You don't add them. In this one, when you divide, the top number is in the box. The denominator is the divisor. Negative divided by negative means my answer is going to be positive. Now, I have to move my decimal, move it 1, put it straight up. Order is very important, kids, when you divide. So, how many 2's are in a 3? 1. I put a 1 above that 3. And I subtract. Bring down. How many 2's are in a 13? 6. You put a 6 above that 3 because that's the 3 you just brought down. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract. Bring down. How many 2's are in a 16? 8. And the answer is positive 168. All right, problem number 8. You are going to multiply positive times negative. I'm going to put my negative down. Oh, circle my answer to make sure I don't forget it, because multiplying positive times negative is negative. So 7 1/10 times negative 3 4/10. Now when you multiply, you act like the decimals are not even in the problem. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 7 is 28. There's one number behind the 3. Put one place value 0 down. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 7 is 21. Add the numbers together. Then, how many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? 1, 2. 1, 2. The answer is negative 24 1400. Any questions? Okay, number 9, we like this one because they're both negative, so you add and keep the sign. So 8 plus 6 is 14, carry a 1, the answer's negative 24. In this one, 49 plus a negative 8. You have $49, you owe someone 8, you give it to them. You now have 41. It's a positive 41. Are there any questions on how to do the computation on 1 to 10? All right, let's go on to our multiple choice. Now, don't do these in your head. Be very careful so you don't make careless mistakes on these. Negative 7 plus negative 4 is negative 11, and negative 11 plus 5 equals negative 6. Is that an answer? Yes, it is. Number 12. In problem 12, find the difference. Well, you add the opposite. Negative 7 plus negative 3 is negative 10. Choice B. Let's look at the next problems. In number 13, quotient. Now, when you have mixed numbers, you have to change them to improper fractions. And then it's a keep, change the sign, and do the reciprocal of the number behind the division sign. So first, I'm going to have negative 10 thirds. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10. Divided by 7 over 21. Now, I'm going to keep, change the sign, and take the reciprocal, which means I flip it. Okay, now, simplify before you multiply if you can, and 3 will go into 3 once. 3 goes into 21 7 times. Oh my goodness. Now I have a 7 on top of a 7. That's the same thing as a 1. So the answer is negative 10, which is C, negative 10. If you did not simplify, you would have had negative 210 over 21, which you kids all know that's the same thing as negative 10, right? So you would still get negative 10 if you didn't simplify, all right? In this problem, you are adding. When you add fractions, you have to have a common denominator. Between 5 and 8, it will be 40. Now, I'm going to rewrite this one vertically. All right, so we're going to change them to 40s. 5 times 8 is 40. 2 times 8 is 16, and that's negative. 8 times 5 is 40. 3 times 5 is 15. Now, negative 16 plus a positive 15 leaves you with a negative 1/40. Is that a choice? Yes. Now, be very careful because they have choices here that if you make a careless mistake, you would get that answer. So be very careful on the problems. Any questions on how to do 1 to 14? Nice job, kids. Let's go to the next page. In problem number 15, here, if you can simplify before you multiply, that makes it easier. And I can. The 3 divides 3, and 3 divides 21. 3 divides 3 once. 3 divides 21 7 times. There's no other shortcuts from a numerator to a denominator, so now we multiply straight across. 1 times 10 is 10. 7 times 7 is 49. 10 over 49. That is the answer. Ooh, all that apply. That one's tricky. In this one, are there any others that are the same thing? Well, 30 over 147. Yeah. It won't be that one. It won't be that one. Those are the two answers to circle. All right, you need to circle both of them because it said all that apply. Find the difference. Okay, kids, this one you need to be very careful with. 10 minus 5 and 2/3. 10 has to change its name. It'll be 9 and 3/3. That's still a 10, but we had to cut it apart so we could take 2/3 away from it. 3/3 minus 2/3 is 1/3. 9 minus 5 is 4. 4 and 1/3. Any questions? Okay, now we are going to go to the next problem. Here it says we have a person, Ramaya, opened a new bank account with $600, so that's a plus 600. A couple days later she withdrew. That means you're going to subtract 100. The next day she made $40 babysitting. Deposit means you're going to add it. A day later she used her debit card for $250 to make repairs for her car. That means you subtract $250. Write an expression to represent her banking transactions. Well, you're just going to do 600 minus 100 plus 40 minus 250. That is your expression. You don't even have to put an equal sign. It says an expression. An expression doesn't have equal signs. Okay? Yes?
If it says we have to put the expression, please put the answer.
You're going to put the answer down below on this line. Okay? So now let's figure out what the answer is. That's going to be 500 plus 40 is 540 minus 250. 540 minus 250 . Did you get $290?
Yeah.
Very good. $290. Okay, now let's just review these so you don't make a careless mistake, especially with number 22. The square root of 49 is what, class?
7.
Very good. 9 to the second power is 9 times 9, which is 81. Yeah, be very careful. Very easy, but kids make a careless mistake. Why? Because their brains haven't practiced multiplying as much as adding, and they make that careless mistake. Number 23, explain the relationship. It's the first choice. The numbers have an inverse relationship. They're the opposites of each other. Why don't you circle that word opposite to make sure it sticks into your brain a little better? It's the opposite of each other. The square root of 84 is the opposite of 8 to the second power. Square root of 84 equals 8, and 8 to the second power is 64. Yeah, they're the opposites. They're the inverse of each other. Any questions on that? Does everyone know that? That is a question on the test. Does everyone know how to do that? Okay. Now, here you have some extra numbers. 6 times 8 is 48. On the test, you click on it, you drop and drag the answer into the box. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. And 2 times 2 is 4. Any questions on how to do that? Good. Now, what number has a prime factorization of this? Well, 2 to the second power is 4. And 4 times 11 equals 44. That's the answer for problem number 25. Any questions on that? Okay. The key word here is prime. This is not an answer. Why can you not put the first one down? Yes?
Because 9 times 5.
9 is not prime, so you cannot choose that one. So the correct answer is the second one. 3 to the second power is 9 times 5. That's the correct answer. Any questions on how to do that problem? Okay, very nice. Let's go to the last page. Now, here we have the baseball table, and it has, you have to read the stuff carefully. Total number at bats, total number of hits, and that's how, then batting average. We're going to find out how to do batting average. Okay. Are these real baseball players?
Yes.
Okay. So who does this guy play for?
San Diego Padres.
Who does Bryce play for?
Indiana Phillies.
Who does Mookie play for?
Los Angeles.
Kyle Tucker.
Astros.
Nobody knows that one.
And
Aaron Judge?
Yankees. New York Mets.
No, Cardinal fan. I like the Cardinals baseball team. I'm a little disappointed that, but I think it was Miss Lovell that wrote this one. So she knows baseball, but I don't think she's a Cardinals fan. Anyway, let's go on and finish this out. What is the difference between Mookie's batting average and Aaron's batting average? Okay, here's their batting average. It's 322 thousandths minus Aaron's batting average of, kids, are those good batting averages?
No. Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Okay.
500.
12 minus 9 is 3. 1 minus 0 is 1. So their difference, they're very similar. They're 13 thousandths apart. So they really have close.
That's Hall of Fame batting average.
Okay.
Especially Manny Machado. That's really, really good.
Okay.
What, point 13?
Now,
No, 0.447.
all right. Now, when you put it in for your answer, put 0.013. I know that they don't have it here, but I think the Coding and Mastery Connect will require you to put that 0. I'll let you know tomorrow if it does. Now, number 2, it says to find the batting average in Major League Baseball, you take the total number of hits, so that will go in the box, divided by the total number of bats. Okay, find Kyle Tucker's batting average. All right, so the number of hits, okay, so what do you put? The total number of hits, that's this one here. So his hits is 120. 120 goes in the box. And how many times did he go to bat? 320. Do you see how you do that? Some of you are saying, but Mrs. Robertson, you don't put the little number in. Yes, you do. In batting averages, the 120 goes in, the 320, the number of at-bats is on the outside. Is that right, Nathan? Is that how they do it? Okay. All right. Now, Nathan, tell me if I'm making any mistakes. You got to keep an eye on what we're doing.
No. Round to the nearest
No?
thousand. Round to the nearest thousand.
We round to the nearest thousandth. Okay. How many 320? Let's all be quiet now. Shh, thank you. How many 320s are in a 1, none, and 120, none, and 120? So that's a 0 for our whole number. Add a dotty dot.
It can never be on.
How many 320s are in that? 4 is too big, so it's going to be 3. 320 times 3, 960. Okay, and I put a 3 above that 0 that I just added. Do you see where the placement of the numbers go? Some of you get the numbers right, but they're in the wrong spots. Subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. Borrow. 10 minus 6 is 4. Now that's an 11. 11 minus 9 is 2. Add another dotty dot or a 0. Bring it down. Am I doing this right, Nathan?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Okay. 8's too big, so it's going to go into it 7 times. 320 times 7. $2,240. Subtract. Borrow from the 4. 10 minus 4 is 6. 3 minus 2 is 1. Oh, don't forget to put the 7 above that number that I brought down. Add another 0 because for batting averages you have to round it to, it goes to the thousandths. So bring it down. Oh, 5. I know that 5 times 320, 10 is 1,600. So I don't even have to round for the batting average. This person's batting average, Kyle's batting average, is 375 thousandths. Okay, earlier I was showing a person said, but this is what you do. This was for another problem, so just ignore that information there. Okay, any questions? All right, study this before your test tomorrow, okay? All right.